Hello and welcome to the first episode of the Shigutocast. I'm your host, OperatorBeast. Alongside us, as always, is Tobe. And today we're fortunate enough to be joined by the Batsu boys themselves. InfiniteEffect, Soulwave, Mr. Wiggs. Go ahead and introduce yourselves, guys. We're glad to have you on.
Hi, hello. My name is Mr. Wiggs. I do a good bit of the modeling and texturing work for Zaibatsu.
I'm Soulwave. Thanks for having me. I'm the lead builder for Zaibatsu.
I am InfiniteEffect. You already know what I do.
Right.
Before we get into the interview, we're gonna go swing by Tobe for some Shiguto news.
Hello and welcome to Shiguto News. Let's take a look at what's going on. One of our most active members, Gestafelsteen, released a new showcase called Foggy Coast. This project began as an architectural study of fishing villages in Iceland and Norway, so be sure to give it a visit and check out the rest of Gestafelsteen's projects. In other news, the Shiguto Discord server passed 8,000 members, so we just want to send a huge shout out to everybody who's joined the server and stuck with us in there. It means a lot. Lastly, our good friend SetDefault1 released a ton of new showcases, so we'll link all those in the description and we highly encourage you to check them out. But he'll be on the podcast next week, so if you have any questions for him, feel free to go leave them on our Reddit. But yeah, that's what we have for this week, so we'll jump into some questions from Mr. Beast.
Yeah, so we've got just a couple questions to start things off. What would be something you guys wished that you knew when you started out? We're gonna start off with InfiniteEffect, go around to Soulwave, and then we're gonna end on Mr. Wiggs. So if you could start us off, Infinite, that would be great.
Don't tell us what to do.
Give us the sauce, Inf.
Yeah, give us the sauce.
The most difficult decision is finding the balance between making the game you want to make and the game someone wants to play. You may have great ideas that are not great to others. It can be hard to accept. Dispose of bad ideas and start over. Fun is the first priority. This is the most important thing I have learned about game development.
Okay, Soulwave, would you like to answer next?
I wish I knew how big the platform would grow to be. When I started playing Roblox, I didn't really think of how big it would grow. But well, if I knew that it would grow to be this big, I think I would devote more of my time trying to get better as a developer instead of taking a bunch of hiatuses.
Monsieur
That's really
Wiggs.
Honestly, I'm kind of with Soul. Like, if I knew that I'd be here like years ago, I would have spent like a good bit more time like practicing and honing my craft, as I didn't seriously start developing or just modeling in general until like I think it's been 2 years now. Like before that, I would just boot up ZBrush, sculpt something here and there, but nothing for something.
Okay. I actually want to take it back to Inf and talk about just the inner conflicts about whether or not you're like whether you're making a game for yourself or you're trying to make a game for other people, and some tips that you found in order to make a game that you want to make while still marketing it and while still making it fun for the player, but you're enjoying it as a developer as well.
I am still trying to locate this balance. Observing test players is helpful.
I'm gonna pivot over to another question. What's the biggest challenge you guys have right now in development? And a follow-up question to that: how are you trying to overcome it? What are you doing? What steps are you taking? Just that in general. Yeah.
Getting it done.
Can you expand upon that a little bit? Like, what's the challenge with getting it done?
Due to working remotely, the key pillar of face-to-face communication for my counterparts is absent. I am curious of their opinions.
Yeah, kind of
Yeah,
hit
I
the nail
agree.
on the head. At least for me, one of the big issues is just general fatigue. Most of my days I'm pretty busy, so whenever I have any bit of free time, I get on and try to do a bit of development, or as much as I can at least. But doing the same thing, day in and day out, it kind of starts getting a bit monotonous and like hard to go through. Like even if it's like a simple task like modeling something, I don't even have to texture it. Just the act of modeling it starts getting difficult with the amount of fatigue.
Yeah, the initial thrill of it is kind of gone, right?
Correct. We burn out easily. The game development process has been drained of any entertainment. Now, it is nothing more than a march to the finish.
Well, I think if anything, the community could give you guys kudos because
Yeah.
a lot of people who are just joining now may not know that this game has been in development for over 2 years now, coming up on 2.5, right? And to stick with something that long and follow through on it to the end is not an easy thing to do, so I think everybody can really appreciate that.
Thankfully, the current quarantine has postponed my many other commitments. This allows me more time to develop Zaibatsu. Still, it is difficult to stay motivated. There are many things that need to be finished. It scares me.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think at least what helps slash hurts is what's making it take so long the most is rather release a game that's finished and polished rather than one that's half-baked and then finished later, because that just kind of reflects poorly on us. Plus, things can change like all the time. If you were to look at a version of the game from a year ago and now, you would think it's completely two different games.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. We are perfectionists. Our contributions require constant revision.
Oh, absolutely. Just gonna say real quick, like, can't tell you how many times I've taken an asset that I finished. I look at it and it's like, okay, that's fine. I leave for like 30 minutes and I come back and it's just, so I'm just like immediately delete it and start over again.
So, what steps are you guys trying to take to overcome those kinds of blockages with perfectionism?
Stop caring. Time is precious. Memory is precious. My incredibly complex scripts are not worth sharing here and now. The simple path is often the better path.
Oh, I think I can add on top of that. Deep to basically nailed it on the head again. At least for me, if I were to finish an asset that I know myself enough to know that I'll probably end up redoing it again if I don't like put it into a folder marked finished and then throwing it into another folder at the corner so I don't have to look at it. At least that's one of the things that I do. On top of just like roughing it.
Yeah.
Just finish one thing that I need to do, cross it off my list, and then look at the rest of the list. Basically telling myself I don't have the time or the resources to keep redoing the same thing over and over again when I have X, Y, and Z that need to be done.
I think the biggest challenge for me personally is considering the engine's limitations. Because if you have a big idea, well, it's hard to really implement it and having everyone enjoy it, on their computer or mobile device. So it's kind of frustrating sometimes when you have just like a great idea, but you can't really apply it perfectly onto the engine. And it's things like that that really set us back. Like Infinite's example with the lights, that's a great detail, but just because of the script, well, we can't toss it in there. But just accepting the reality of how things are. We just accept it and try to work around it. That's all really we can do while Roblox improves their engine.
This is true. We have strict limitations. We are becoming aware of our boundaries and are adjusting our expectations to be more realistic.
To bounce to our last question, what makes you guys curious right now? What are you guys curious about trying in the future with other projects? What interests you?
I want to become a homeless person to research my homeless person game. No, I'm kidding.
Updates to the engine make me curious.
I'm very curious with continuing to make virtual environments, but for the sake of VR, and to experiment with the interactivity you have with the VR controller and headset.
So I think what's kept me curious, at least for this long, is again potentiality of the engine. I was like, there's so many times where I've thought that something is like the peak of what you could do with the engine, and then someone figures out a way of like taking it even further. What I would like to do, or at least to see more of in the future, is like single player experiences. So whether that be just like like a full single player game or something on the same note that you'd find with like a lot of other indie games with that same that same polish. Because I know it's possible, it just takes a lot more work than what most people are willing to put in.
I think that would be a great way to further the platform artistically. Speaking of art, we're going to take a quick break to hear a message from our sponsor. When we come back, we'll move on to the questions you asked this last week on our Reddit thread. I'd like to present our sponsor, Aircom, featuring state-of-the-art air-to-surface vessel radar and the new groundbreaking V9 core processor from Cavant. The Genus 7 can practically replace your old, out-of-date workpads. With Aircom's signature, sleek, modern, and innovative design, the Genus 7 is a go-anywhere device. With the affordable pricing Aircom offers, you'd be a fool not to buy it. If you'd like to purchase a Genus 7 of your own and support the podcast, go to www.aircom.nd/Shigutocast and enter the code SAMUKO for 5% off your purchase. Again, we'd like to thank Aircom for sponsoring this episode of the Shigutocast. Aircom, connection through communication. Last week, we asked you guys to submit some questions for the Batsu Boys to answer in this podcast on our subreddit, r/Shiguto. If you guys would like to drop some questions for later podcasts, feel free to go there. We'll probably announce it in our Discord. The first question we've got is from Yandere072official, and they ask, how large will Zaibatsu's map be in comparison to Neon District?
Zaibatsu is more than 2 times larger than Neon District. It is hard to compare these maps, because they are quite different.
So, due to that added size, this question comes from Optimistic Brute. Will Zaibatsu have drivable vehicles?
Yeah, it'll have a drivable vehicle.
And they go very fast.
They go really fast. This question comes from Ilianson?
Say it again without being confused.
Yeah. This question comes from Ilianson. Will there be lots of explorable buildings, and will you have a photo mode available, like the one that was used in Neon District's photography contest?
There will be a photo mode. Perhaps not on release, but eventually you can take photos. And selfies. Nobody asked for it, but it is coming. You are welcome.
This question comes from 3D MC Bali. Are you guys happy with the progress you've made so far on Zaibatsu?
I'm pretty happy with it. Especially like looking over a timeline, what it was and what it is now. And just like the general quality of everything is so much higher. I want to say especially on my end, as looking back at a lot of the stuff that I made beforehand, I don't think I'd ever release those to any game. But I think now my stuff at least is up to snuff with the rest of the game. Hopefully.
This question comes from rcasper613. With Neon District and Zaibatsu presumably taking place at different times and in different locations, will there be any mutual presence of businesses and factions between the two games?
Well, there'll be a few businesses and some factions you may have heard about. but it'll be in. Oh, how would I explain this? They'll be the same companies, but in a different light, since Zaibatsu does take place before Neon District. So a lot of the information you know
Mm-hmm.
will be moderately different.
Zaibatsu will have actual lore.
This question comes from Ginja Ninja 72. What steps have you guys taken to reduce lag in Zaibatsu?
When you start the game, open the menu, locate the graphics option, set it to 0. Ha ha ha, I am only kidding. We are trying to make the game as beautiful as possible. Constant optimization is necessary. Efficiency is of vital importance.
This question comes from the Cannon Grave Robber. What are some of your favorite games that you haven't contributed to?
Phantom Forces, definitely number one.
I do play Arsenal a fair bit. It does play very well, I'll give it that. And if you're playing with other people, it can be very fun.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when someone is exploiting, that's when the fun just goes out the window.
Mm-hmm. As with any game, I'd say. Exploiters just kind of ruin the fun for everybody.
My input on this matter would be unsubstantial. I have not been programmed to feel enjoyment.
That makes sense.
We'll patch that on the next
does make
update.
sense.
But for me personally, definitely Phantom Forces and Trade Lands.
Ooh.
What draws you to those games?
Well, for Phantom Forces, I really like the pacing of the combat. The maps are real nice, especially the gunplay. For Trade Lands, I'm a huge fan of the marketplace system they have in there. I really like the way the game feels overall.
I think for me and Arsenal, it's the kind of game I can turn my brain off to. Like, I don't mean this in like a condescending kind of way, but I can play Arsenal and just not think. I just have to move. And I enjoy games where I can like not think about anything very much, so just kind of like a wind down.
Yeah. Just turn on music and jam out. This question comes from the mayor of Swagville. Will InfiniteEffect keep updating Neon District after Zaibatsu is finished?
We'll be releasing Neon District 2 after Zaibatsu. It's set 500 years before the events of Zaibatsu.
Where does Neon District 2 take place?
It takes place in Neo Tijuana, Brazil.
Oh, that was my second guess.
Yeah, that was my second guess too, actually. This question comes from Yonder Brain. Do you guys have any plans as a team after Zaibatsu?
We are going on vacation.
A well-deserved vacation. I think you guys deserve that. Pizza party and a vacation.
Lots of cheese pizza.
Lots of cheese pizza. This question comes from Enzo. What are you guys' favorite plugins to use in Roblox Studio?
Archimedes.
Studio's basically model storage for me, so I don't tend to use any plugins.
I'm personally a huge fan of F3X. Everything I make is using F3X.
This is coming from the Great Pumpkin 31. How long did it take you to make Neon District?
This is an old game. I have committed hundreds to thousands of hours.
This question comes from Too Radical. What's your favorite food and why?
Ramen. Especially from a stand. Ramen stand.
Computers don't eat.
Correct. I have never tasted food. Am I alive?
Shut it down. Somebody
Yeah,
shut it
okay.
down.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm a fan of takoyaki. I can eat those for however long.
I'm a devoted fan to the sandwich.
What's your favorite kind of sandwich then? You just
I
slap
prefer-
like PB&J together, or
No. I prefer a traditional ham and cheese sandwich.
there you go. Any condiments, mayo, ketchup, mustard,
Well,
or just ham and cheese?
the key is it could be it could be a variation of condiments. Every person has their own preference, and they each kind of taste uniquely.
Mm-hmm.
But I personally think mustard is key to a good sandwich.
I will be exposing myself a little bit here. So one of my guilty pleasures, the sandwich, is toasted sandwich bread with strawberry jam, and then feta cheese.
Jam and feta cheese
Yeah, strawberry jam
on
and feta
toast.
cheese. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It
Sounds fancy.
honestly, it tastes pretty good.
Sounds like it would taste nice with tea.
Oh, absolutely does.
What about you, Beast?
Oh, geez. My favorite food is definitely pho. I like pho. Good old.
You know, I thought you
Just,
would like military rations.
I've had too many MREs.
Thought you'd be a fan of
No,
MREs.
no. Not me.
They
Couldn't
they
be
do
me.
taste pretty awful.
It's not that they taste awful, it's what happens after you eat them. That's what's awful. This question comes from Muffinator308, Ender Shadow 10, and a bunch of other cringe lords. Redwoods,
Oh,
yes or
boy.
no? This question comes from Kirby on Roblox. When can we expect to see a release date for Zaibatsu?
This summer. Maybe. We are all busy. Please make an effort to understand this.
Are you guys, prior to a release for Zaibatsu, are you guys looking into doing a closed or paid alpha and or beta?
Yes. Maybe. No.
Yes, maybe no. I don't know. How much money are you guys willing to pay? 4,000 Robux? Question mark? Exclamation point and Terabang. I think I want to ask, just like take a second and think about like projects you're working on right now outside of Zaibatsu. Maybe you're doing something on the side. You've got a little passion project. Maybe you've put it in a box and you're waiting for Zaibatsu to come out to pull it out of the box and start working on it again. But what are you guys planning on doing after Zaibatsu or other than Zaibatsu? What have you got going on right now?
Is this Hot Ones?
Yeah, basically,
Look at the
yeah.
camera.
Yeah, this camera. What's going on, guys? What's pippity poppin'?
I'm producing a band in Mexico. They're called Satélite. I'm not sure how you spell it in English, but I'll drop a link whenever we'll release a record.
That's cool.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Infinite
Here I am being a holder.
Wings. Yeah.
I am waiting for my creator to program my feelings.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, good luck with that,
Yeah.
man. Mr. Wiggs, what have you got going on? I hear you've got a little poem to share with us to close out.
I do have a poem. Well, I'm not sure if you could actually call it a poem. As close as it can get. This. It might mean something, might not mean anything. Let there be no falsity, for I am the truth. To make claims of beauty in existence is but a lie within a lie. For if the claim was to be law, then existence is for.
I would like to finish with a quote. A wise woman on Facebook once said, "Live, laugh, love."
Well, that's all we have today. I'd like to thank you guys for coming on and providing some insight on the development of Zaibatsu and what's going on in your lives. So
Thank you for having us. Please make sure to listen to our next album, Synthetic Love, dropping in 2036.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.